look at them all together. We have some universal alignment principles that Audra taught you on Saturday or Sunday. So I'm just going to demonstrate those so we'll go through them a little more quickly. And so here is Simon, and I'm going to show you, he can do Warrior 1 facing in toward the room. And we're looking at what's a focal point. Focal points are like a center of gravity. And usually I have students touch them on their own. So if he grabs his pubic bone with his right hand and sacrum with his left hand, go ahead and you do it. He has a sense that there's muscular energy gathering toward these places. Use your right hand here. He has a sense that he's gathering toward here. So he's building himself toward here. So legs are coming toward here. Abdominal muscles coming toward here. So students need a sense of what's a focal point of a posture, like where's the first place to put their mind. Any standing pose, it's going to be the core of the pelvis, because where two legs meet one spine, that's the hardest thing anatomically for a human to build, okay? So core of the pelvis is the focal point for a lot of postures. Then if he does downward dog, go ahead, or plank pose, just do plank pose. Now he's a weight bearing on his arms and his legs, and here the focal point becomes the core of his heart, right here. So now the first place we want their students to put their mind is here. And that's all arm balancing postures, anything where you have weight in your arms. The last kind, you can do bridge pose. Go ahead and lie down. As soon as you weight bear on your head, the first place we want students to become aware of is actually here. You can touch it on yourself, your cheekbones, the hard palate. And so as he lifts up, the first thing as a teacher, I want him to bring his awareness here. And that is the place where he's then from there pressing down into the back of his head. It's important to have that, because if he puts his awareness like at his pelvis and he just tries to like thrust his pelvis up or just puts his awareness there, he can easily damage his neck in bridge pose. Thank you. That's good. Now we're going to go through these alignment loops, and we have this, one of my RYT2 students a long time ago did this as a project. So we have loops here. These come from the Anusara tradition, which is not really fully alive anymore, but Iyengar would be the bigger school that was the longer term school. Richard Freeman, a famous Ashtanga Vinyasa teacher, kind of brought them into awareness, and then John Friend, the Anusara teacher, really put them in the code. We're going to practice these all together. So Nina is going to be over there, maybe with someone, and I'll be right here. And Sarah, you've done this before too, right? And Simon, you've probably done it before, at least once, doing the loops. So let's pair up. Macy, you can come. And let's be close together. So let's put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mats, because I think we have about 10 people. And that way you can easily follow along. Should I be this way? Okay, okay. All right, all right. So we got 5 mats. And we're practicing what we do every yoga lab, more or less, is review a little bit of basic alignment principles. So have a partner, and then if you're the teacher, like me, or Nina, Sarah, Simon, you should be a teacher to start with. Then student, you stand there. If you're a student, then go stand on the mat. Me? Hi. I remember you. I remember you. Huh?
Sarah, do you have a partner?
Sarah, you can work with her.
Need more, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do with Sarah. Everyone have a partner?
No, I need a partner. So
okay. Do another mat. Okay, right here. Jenny. Sarah, you work with Jenny.
Hi.
I think Nina's going to work with Hannah.
Okay.
The two are together.
Yep. Oh, okay.
All right. If you're the teacher, you're like this. If you're the student, you're here. No, stand up. Student, stand up. Walk, 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 and stand here. Okay? Because we're going to build the posture from the ground up. Okay? So what we do first is we look for hip width. So hip width is if you are at the outer hips, and then you find the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine. So that's more or less where we want the kneecaps to be, more or less where we want the second toe to be. So you're just looking what is hip width for that person. And if they're not hip width, you can just kind of bonk their feet a little wider. So Tracy can go a tiny bit wider. All right. Now we're going to build the postures from the ground up. Sarah, do you want to turn around so you can see me? Or are you okay like that?
I'm okay. I'm going to let her watch too.
Oh, okay. All right, first loop, we're going to start at the Achilles tendon. Go down the heel, build the arches of the foot, stop at the head of the metatarsals, and then circle right through the ankle joint. Okay? Yeah, don't touch lightly. You got to touch firmly. We're not tickling them. Okay? Ankle loop. Ankle loop is reinforcing the ankle joint. Lift and spread the toes, then put them back down. So that's a cue you'll hear a lot from teachers. So press into the four corners of each foot. It's another cue you'll hear. Okay, ankle loop. Then come up the calf muscle, micro bend the knee, and down the shin. Reinforce the ankle. Up the calf, micro bend the knee, down the shin, reinforce the ankle. These are proper alignment loops for the joints. Touch the head of the top of the kneecap. We're just working on one leg. We're not doing two. Okay, go up the thigh bone. When you get to the hip flexor, have them bow into you. The hip flex at the hip so you can feel where does the hip flex. Okay, keep them in a little bow. Reach behind, touch right under the buttock fold, the sitting bone. Go down the hamstring, and then again reinforce how does the knee flex. And go up the thigh into the hip joint where the hip flexes. Then from the sitting bone down the hamstring, how does the knee bend? So you're reinforcing the joints of the body. Okay, let's do all three of those loops. Switch legs, okay? Down Achilles tendon. Build the arch, lift and spread your toes, put them back down, reinforce the ankle. And we're going up the calf, micro bend the knee, down the shin, reinforce the ankle. You can touch these alignment loops in any posture. So this is a great way to learn assisting. Then thigh loop, touch the top of the kneecap. Go up the thigh bone to where the hip flexes. They'll bow, they'll flex at the hips. All right, that shows you where it is. Then from the sitting bone, down the hamstring, reinforce the knee. Okay, so this is the thigh loop, proper action of the thigh. Then you can stand up. Your student's gonna grab their own pelvis, pubic bone and sacrum, palm down on your sacrum, okay? And then once their hands are there, it makes it a lot easier for you to just put your hands on top. Okay? So there you are. They bend their knees, and then we're going to move their pelvis, like James Brown. You know, and we're going for tail down. Okay? Okay, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Okay, student needs to bow their chest forward. And bowing the chest forward is going to help them feel the next loop. You can release your pelvis now. The next loop, bowing the chest is usually how we start. So we have people with micro bent knees, their hands are dangling in front of them. And what we need to find for the next loop is from the top edge of the sacrum, you're going to go up the lumbar spine, through the side ribs, so right below the bra strap. You're going to come forward to the bottom ribs, and you want the front ribs to come down and in. The front ribs come down and in, then it's down the belly. No one really loves the getting touched there, but it is good reminders, okay? Are you actually awake here, or are you asleep here? Okay, and then again, from the top of the sacrum, up to the back of the heart, through the side ribs, down the belly. Okay, this helps teach Uddiyana Bandha, the lower belly lock. So right now they're curled. You're not standing normally, you're bowed. Okay, you're bowed, you're curled. The next loop we're gonna have them initiate, you're gonna give them the back of their head with your palm. And now that they found their belly, they got micro bent knees, they can bend and straighten a little, bend and straighten. Student, feel your own lower loops, including your abs, right? Now you're just gonna press your head into that hand and pour yourself into your feet. Press your head back into my hand and pull your shoulders down toward your butt. Push hard. Come on. Until you stand up straight. There you go. And then sometimes they overcorrect and they're like got their chin jutted up. So you can give them the crown by putting your palm on the crown of their head. Put your palm there and then not your fingertips. Bend and straighten your knees and push up into that palm. Bend and straighten your knees, push in the palm. You got to push hard with your hand. Give them a ceiling. This is not a light touch. Okay, then we can look here at the, you can step off and we'll all look at this. Okay, can you see here? Everyone look here? All right, so we're looking here. So ankle loop reinforces the ankle joint. Shin loop reinforces how a knee flexes, and they work like gears. Thigh loop reinforces how the hip flexes. So those three are how the legs work. At that point, 2 turns into 1. So we have a different thing that happens. The pelvic loop actually goes the same as the thigh loop. So here, there's a sense that your pubic bone is coming in. Lengthening the lower back by turning the tailbone down. Okay? So pelvis loop. Tailbone turns down. There are some people that can overtuck, but it's a lot less common than a hyperextended back. It's so much less common. It tends to be thin men in general. Okay. Then we have up your back, through the back of your heart, and then you're going to knit your front ribs. Some teachers will say that. Pilates teachers sometimes will put tape from here to here in an X. Touch your bottom ribs. Touch the top of your pelvis, ASIS. Between those 4 points, they'll put an X to remind you not to do this. Go ahead and do it. We see it all the time as yoga teachers. Okay. Sound effects are helpful. You always remember. Okay, so there you are. Okay, so we start actually in all shapes, and we're actually a little bit curled. And then from there, the back of the head presses back and you pour your shoulders down into your, okay? It's not pinning your shoulder heads back. It's not pinning your, it's not just using your rhomboids. Okay, you're from here, and it's back of head and shoulders down. Sometimes people will be like this, and then so here, the head loop with skull loop comes from your hard palate, and then it corrects. Go ahead and touch yourself here at the corners of your smile. Go ahead and hyperextend your neck a little bit. Okay, go back to your jawbone, back of head, and then put your skull back on. Okay, that's the last loop. These are our review. We do them every time. 3 focal points, 7 alignment loops. Just to show you how I could use them, Hannah's here. She's going to do Warrior 1, face me. Purple mat. She's doing Warrior 1. She's there. Go ahead, just put your arms up. What is doing Warrior 1? There she is, okay. I'm looking at Hannah, I'm like, what can I do with her as a teacher? Well, she could step longer. She's being a little shy with her students. There I am. And so once she's there, you know, I can do things like, okay, go loop. Hey, shin loop. Whoa, that made it deeper. What? Hey, that made it deeper. Okay. Zzz. Like that. Of course, you can check the condition of the pelvis. Hers looks pretty good, but can you hyperextend your lower back? All right, not so good. So sometimes I'll have you do things like punch, hey, like that. All right. Or if someone's like really flared out with the ribs, sometimes I'll have them make fists. I'll say, come toward me, bow your chest, find your belly muscles, get your front ribs. Once you've got that, then she can bring her hands back. That's how I'm working with the loops. I work with them from the ground up. Okay, step change. Other side. So I'm just using these little light touches for awareness. That's it. And it's super easy as a teacher. You're like not sure, how do I adjust someone in Warrior 1? We can always do this. It feels nice. Even if she doesn't go deeper, just this little bitty touches feel nice. Yeah? Okay. So that's how you can use alignment loops. You can also use it to look at your students from the ground up. Like where are they, you know? So what we tend to see a lot of is like hyperextended knees, especially in standing balancing poses, especially in hot yoga classes, you know, hyperextended knees. So they need to micro bend. In all postures, you need to look from the ground up. The today class, we're looking at the more dynamic warm-ups. And those of you that are in teacher training, like Lou and Jenny and Simon, it's good to have blank pieces of paper for your homework. You don't need to do it right now, but it is also, as the week goes on, might be something that you have. Blank pieces of paper or notebook. You have a whole homework section in your manual that gives you requirements, because for every single pose, you have to draw it, like stick figure. In every single pose, you need to talk about focal points, main benefits, key actions, and sort of alignment tips. Modifications. What do we do for someone who's like a giant? What do we do for someone who's like pregnant? So you'll be getting tips about this in class. Fortunately, today we're videotaping it. You can watch me again later. Hello, later. So we're gonna do strong warm-ups, and you need a partner. So find a partner, work with somebody different than you worked with before. Now we're gonna spread out. So you and your partner get a mat, and then let's roll up the rest of the mats because we don't need them. Once you and your partner have a mat, let's get rid of the rest of them. More or less. And I think you look good. Now make you and your partner so you can easily see me and Nina. Where should we be? Here. Okay. So you can easily see me and Nina. So, you know, do what you need to so you can see me and Nina. Nina's going to do downward dog, or actually plank pose as our first pose. So here's Nina in plank pose. I'm looking at her in plank pose as a teacher. I'm looking at things like, are her elbows hyperextended? Because she could. They don't look that bad. Does her plank pose look more or less like a plank and not like a sag? And I'm looking at what are her shoulders look like. In this case, we're going to go for protracted shoulders, meaning that her shoulders are in front of her. One easy thing you can do as a teacher is to give her the focal point and say, puff into me. And then I can just lean on her. Oh, oh. Plank pose. You can mess, Nina. So those are the kind of things. Hands and feet, are they look symmetrical? Are they like not symmetrical? 1 foot in front, one hand in front, one hand turned out. Those are the things I'm looking at. Modification of plank pose is interlaced hands with the elbows wide. Who would need this? Someone with like really weak wrists or wrist pain, right? This is still plank pose. You're still like having to use your core a lot, right? You know, even one nice thing is the head loop. She's got a beret there. It's okay. But if I give her the crown and kind of like pass her forward and back, she has to zip up the core line, right? I'm pushing her from her crown to her feet, right? She has to zip up. Okay? But you don't want to push sideways, right? You make sure you're pushing straight down. You all understand how I'm just using the loops? These things are great. You learn them, you can touch people all the time. So another modification for plank pose is knees down, which we do with generally people that are older, overweight, things like that. So she starts in plank pose, throw your toes under. And she's like, oh, I can't do it. So she just puts her knees down. She's here, inhale. She straightens her legs, exhale. She bends her knees to the ground, inhale. And then she just straightens her legs, exhale. Breathe with her, don't hold your breath. Okay, and then she might be able to stay up longer someday. You all got that modification? All right, give it a go. Watch your person, don't be talking to them right away. Just watch them. Just watch them for a while. Look at them from all angles. Look at them from all angles.
My student's so strong.
Right, and then there's the hand behind the heart. There's the hand behind the heart. And like Hannah is good. You want to put the hand in a nice line so the finger goes up the spine. No.
Is that one only for forearm?
No, that's fine. No, it would be the same. We'll do questions in a minute. You get down on a knee, right, Hannah? Get down on a knee so you're the right height.
So our eyes down on this one generally, or like
We'll do questions in a minute.
I was gonna say try to roll forward on your toes and then tuck in. There you go. And now puff up.
I'm forcing you to.
Okay. Okay. Come together. Remind me your name? Tracy. Tracy. I was going to say Tracy. Do it again. Okay. Here's Tracy. Here's Tracy. And the best place to watch Tracy do it is from the front here. Okay. Come here and look at Tracy. And then anybody tell me what Tracy could do differently in her plank pose. Yeah, her hands are too close together. She thinks she has these little bitty shoulders. She doesn't. She got nice, broad shoulders. Can you all see the difference? Put your hands where they were before. They're diagonal arms. It's easy to see, okay? Now put your hands wider. Oh, now look, the collarbones will open nicely. Broad chest, powerful lady. You all see that? That's the first thing you should see is what's touching the ground. Okay, thanks, Tracy. You had questions?
just where is the gaze?
Look at me straight down.
Okay.
We're looking forward.
If you're
Right.
concerned about the butt, we have to do pelvic with gaze. Butt.
Stance is too short, then the hips will be up in the sky like a little tiny downward dog almost. But like
Sometimes how people will like completely round.
internally rotate their shoulders. Yeah, see. Go, Hannah, you do it.
You do it
Yeah, you do it.
like a bad yogi.
Hannah has a very mobile body, so she can do different things.
But I see it a lot.
So first thing is, okay, drop your knees. Okay, rest for a second. Actually, Hannah, plank pose is a little bit longer. Walk your hands forward. Now come up. Okay. Now shuffle forward and back, forward and back. Zip, 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 zip. Forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Okay, just like that. Those are tools that I use for people that are like stuck in a crab shell or something. Have them move in the pose. Students will like hold postures and stay there and not be using any like proper alignment tips or any like sense of the internal checks, the bandha or the loops. What other questions? All right, Nina. Okay, can you hand hyperextend elbows? There's so much hair there.
Let me.
Just while you're sitting, who can really hyperextend? Nina, you can probably hyperextend. Tracy looks like she can. Can you do? Yeah, Tracy can hyperextend. Okay, just put an arm out to the side. Okay, you see how the underside of her arm like makes it deet deet. See, she's pushing the eye of her elbow forward. I can't hyperextend my elbows. A lot of men can't. But Jenny hyperextend her elbow. See? Okay, see that? Yeah, don't let them do that. Okay.
Keep a soft bend in your elbows or
Here come Jenny. What did I say to you? What did I say to do if person holding bad alignment? Move in the pose. So how would you cue moving in downward dog? Okay. First of all, drop your knees. So Jenny, actually more or less, middle finger goes straight ahead. I know you did a great job. So I was playing along with you. Okay, so now try with your middle finger. You're actually put your hands a tiny bit wider. There we go. Okay, now try come plank pose. Now press back to downward dog. You can bend your knees a tiny bit. Okay, and there she goes. So if she pushes her upper arm bones toward each other, that's the problem. So what I usually say is, inhale, bend your elbows away from each other. Exhale, straighten them a little bit. Inhale, bend the elbows a little bit. Exhale, straighten them a little bit. And that way, that's the first cue. That would be enough for the first round of downward dog. Don't then give them more alignment tips, like press down into your index and your thumb. Now pry your forearms toward each other, but your other arms away. They can't hear all that. They just came and they hyperextend their elbows. Okay? It's common sense. Jenny came in your class first. Don't even really talk to her unless she's doing something. You might. Would you like some help in this posture? Use green card, red card. Something. Private space. Even she loves me, I'm her teacher. Private space. Let's see. I don't know. Don't be like, oh, no, that's the teacher. Okay, don't. If students sets a boundary, for sake, respect it. You know?
But you can still get.
Happening. And sometimes if it's like, I can tell a person's really having a crap day, I might even use somebody else as like, let's say, great, Nina, now try micro bend your elbows, inhale, and straighten your elbows, exhale. So I might even use a different person's name, but everyone gets a chance to hear. And this is a really important lesson for you as teachers. Work with the people who are open to you. Be with the people who are happy. The grumpopotamuses, like, leave them alone. Do not try to correct them. Like, they're grumpy. Like, do you want it to erupt? Like, let them work out for a while, you know? And then you might come over like 10 minutes left in class and be like, how are you doing today? Something. That's enough. They don't want correction that day.
That looks great. Do this or do this, but you know, oh, that's great.
Let's look at Hannah one more time. Okay, she's going to do downward dog. And we're going to look at some cueing for the elbow joint and the arms in general. So can you like turn your upper arm bones into the shoulder? Okay, so how do we deal with this in downward dog? The simplest cueing that I find is to start with what's grounded. So right, Hannah, use all 10 fingertips. Have a sense your forearms are drawing toward each other, but see if you can spin your upper arm bones away from each other. So lower arms toward each other, upper arms spin away from each other. But they might not get that. So if they can't get it, then you can say, can you rotate your shoulder heads away from your ears? If they can't get that, then there's a really nice touching you can do where you just come here, you touch the sides of the neck, and then you pull outward. You touch the side of the neck, and you draw outward, like that. But I'm also slightly rotating the humerus bone. So it's just sort of like a painting. Like that.
Does that feel good no matter what? Or
Yeah, it feels good no matter what. Okay, so you all go by that touch. Touch the side of the neck, and then... And then you'll change roles and try that touch. So make sure, first of all, you can kneel down. Let them start downward dog. Look at their hands. And then try. Do you want to be right in line with them? So be right in the middle. Touch the sides of their neck where they meet the shoulder tops. And then paint your way out. You can even grab the calf muscle of the deltoid and kind of rotate the shoulder heads. Yeah, remember? Come here, like this. See?
All the way from here.
Just turn your palms over. There you go. Yeah, Macy? Use your whole hand. Don't do that. Do like this. Use your arm. Use your palm.
So it doesn't go like fingers on that. Oh, 1 second.
Get down on the knee. You'd be right in the middle. Let's see you right there. Now you're like totally ready. You're in power. You feel good.
Oh.
And that's one thing I do if I'm not really focused.
But start from here.
Okay, so we do start
From here. Yeah, you're opening this up, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so can you put it again?
Okay. Change roles and do the same touch.
I'm trying to be one sweet.
Change roles and do the same touch. Okay. I don't let them waste time. Hey. Change role, you do the same touch.
Because that's when I mess up with a lot. You get down the dark, dude.
So my hands are on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Put any pressure anywhere unnecessary.
Yeah, you can put your hand a little wider, Tracy. See how I can see that? Now her shoulder looks broad. And here, this feels nice, you know. Here. Nice. Oh, see how broad her shoulders are? That's why I had her hands put.
Yeah.
Hey, Subin.
Yeah.
As the student? No.
Come together. Okay, Tracy, the thing is, the arms and the legs are the same. In yoga, you practice from a young enough age, they can become the same. Like Chinese acrobats are the same on their hands and their feet. Dharma Mitra, the teacher in New York City, he's 5'6" Brazilian guy, he's the same on his hands and his feet. There's a certain body height that's ideal for a woman or a man, a structure that makes that possible. It's not possible for each of us. Like I have a really long torso and tiny little short legs. So it's hard for me to arm balance on my arms because I got this big long waist that's like, woo. However, when it comes to alignment principles, they're quite similar. So you can each do this. We're in chair pose. Should I get out of the way? Okay. So shins hug in toward each other, right? So you're putting your palms like this so the shins hug in toward each other. But there's a sense that the upper leg gets wider. Your buttock blossoms. Okay? Shins hug in, but thigh bones get wider. Okay? Look, it's the same here, isn't it? Forearms hug in, but shoulder heads get wider. Because it's the same. Two bones. Hands and feet, same. Thumb, big toe. Two phalanges. Three phalanges. They're the same. Obviously, there's some slight differences, but okay. Any more question about downward dog? We covered already the difference between people really trying to work on flexibility in their hamstrings, people trying to develop more flexibility in their shoulders. Generally with someone like Macy or younger women in general, I want them to work on more strength. I don't want to see them sagging in downward dog. That means they're just sort of like flopping. Can you do flopping downward dog? Even let your belly hang out. There you go.
Jeez.
Okay, so that, this is not anatomically going to help her feel stronger. Okay, Macy, that's good.
What about people that have really hyperflexibility in their shoulders and then they're so rounded through the shoulders and down dog?
Oh, their hands are almost like this.
Yeah. Well, and their hands are fine. It's like the shoulders are so wide. Like my husband.
Well, Tracy has really broad shoulders.
They're not broad. He's really thin and lanky, but then he's got these long torsos and his shoulders that are just down, up.
Demonstrate it.
Like that.
Okay, well, we would start with hand placement.
Well, I mean, I I'm just doing that for me, but his hands are normal. But his back, his arms are like this.
His head almost looks like it's in his
It's like this.
Okay, I'm gonna do. Appreciate all of the ideas. Okay, so it sounds like, how old is he? Does he run or something? Did sports or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so sometime men, how flexible are his shoulders? If he stands like, you can all do this.
Yeah.
Bring your arms up, turn your thumbs back, okay? Build the loops, so you gotta bend your knees, pelvis down, knit your front ribs, even bow your chest. Now see if you can pull your thumbs back in the back of your head. So I would start with that with him, okay? Or if he has shoulder mobility, like he's stiff in his shoulders, if that's what you're describing, he's hypermobile. He's hypermobile, then I like bending and straightening. Bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. Or you give him plank pose first. Come, Hannah. Because you represent Amber's husband as close as we have in the room. Okay, long, lanky. Okay, put your hands a tiny bit wider. Okay, so I like this, I like this. Here she is, like retract your shoulders. You see how the shoulder blades popped up? So we don't want that, okay? Protract your shoulders, push the ground away. And then you lean on, okay? This is gonna build some arm strength and shoulder power, right? And then he goes into downward dog. And the same thing, I'm here, okay?
He doesn't have that much.
Puff into me, puff, puff, push into me, come on, push into me, come on, come on, come on, come on, okay? That's gonna build some, okay? Push into me, come on, come on. Like that. It's easy for Michael. Michael, do you play football or wrestle? Neither. But he has, like, But you need some of us need to develop that. If we don't have that, then we walk out in the world, we're like, I'm so open. Then what happens? World beats us up. I'm ready. But then there are those usually guys, not always guys, who are like, what's the problem? They're not aware of anything except their own personal needs. I'm exaggerating. But
I work with some
But
of
if
them.
they open their shoulders more, they're more receiving.
yeah, right? Yin, nurturing, right? We did that yesterday. You do it. To the tongue. Right? That's opening, nurturing, soft, feminine current from Mother Earth up. Okay?
How can you tell the difference if someone is in plank and they're pushing with their shoulders versus tightening with their chest?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do want them to protract the shoulders. You all can do that. Okay. Your arms are in front. Pro means in front. Re means behind. Okay, so this is not the correct plank pose. That's not a position of power. This is a position of power. Extend through your serratus muscles. Okay, but how do you know if you're hugging your inner shoulders to the midline or something like that? That's a cueing I would give. Just press the ground away, but keep your collarbones broad. I'm not pinning. And remember, Tracy's question teaches us about the thing we just practiced. I'm not pinning my thigh bones toward each other. I'm pinning shins in, thighs out. So if I was pinning my shoulder heads toward each other, that would be the same. I'm not doing that. Shoulders out. Forearms in, shoulders out. Downward dog can go for a long time. I'll demonstrate with Lou here, because Lou has some real stiffness. Okay, go ahead, plank pose. I like looking from front or back, or from directly from the side. Here's Lou. I'm looking at him. I think Lou can bring his right hand a little further out. Like he can be a little bit wider in downward dog. He's in plank pose, and then you can separate your feet hip width apart. Go forward and back and forward and back and forward and back and forward and back. And you can see he has a forward set head even in this. So that's fine. There you go. Now downward dog. There he is in downward dog. Okay, I'm checking out Lou. I'm like, wow. All right, Lou. Can you turn your shoulder heads away from your ears? Ah, difficult, but there he is. I like it. And so
this is where you could go on the neck.
you're looking at him, and I see, okay, his hamstrings. You can separate your feet a tiny bit more. You know, there he is. I don't know how much pressure he can take, though. I mean, the most classic assist so a person can work more on their arms is if you support and press through their sacrum. And you see my arm bone is in line with his leg bones. I'm just grounding him through his legs. You okay with that, Lou? Okay. If they had really tight hamstrings, it wouldn't be okay, right? And I'm not leaning on him, right? I have myself. Okay. And then he can really work in his shoulders because I'm taking some weight off of his shoulders. So, come on, Lou. Bend the elbows, inhale. Straighten them, exhale. Bend elbows, inhale, straighten, exhale. And so he really has a challenge feeling mobility. So I do this, but I wouldn't recommend it for many of you. In this way. All right. That way I'm doing both.
Looks like it releases that.
Okay. But not all of you can do that. And you don't do it with students you don't know. You only do it with someone they came to your class 30, 40 times. Sorry about that. But the first thing where you just press nice and firmly through the hips. Give it a try. Okay, okay. Dude, you and your partner. Give a nice press. You're in a warrior one stance. They're in a downward dog. Let them start their downward dog. By the way, you can respond to me. Adho. Mukha. Shvana. Adho. Mukha. Shvana. Shvana. Go ahead, they're doing it. I don't bother saying asana at the end of postures. It's just assumed. It's like, go ahead. Someone do downward dog, someone push. Wrong arm, Hannah. Use your other arm. Now you're in line with yourself, right? Stay there. Stay there. Okay, everyone's like in a warrior one type posture. You should have yourself. You should be able to bring your arm off of them immediately. And your foot has you. Okay, now reconnect. Now be in your back foot inhale, then be into your front foot exhale. Whoa. Back foot inhale, front foot exhale. Straight arm, Lou. Come on. There you go. There should be no bend to the elbow. Come on, Anna, see what you can do with that creature back there. He's just waiting. He's like, does anybody like me? Pull his shirt up. He has kind of tight hamstrings, so just ask him. No problem. Yeah. But wait till everyone come together. Change rows. Change rows. Straight arm, come on, straight arm. You're doing one-armed plank pose on them. No bent elbows. Amber, put your hand a little further toward her tail. There you go. The sacrum fits right in the palm, right? Okay. Good job. Hannah had a question, well, I learned to push with both hands. Of course you can push with both hands on the butt. It's fine. I like controlling the joints. So when I touch people, I generally control the joints. Of course you can use both hands on both hips, that's fine. Then you're gonna be on the actual butt muscles, you know, that's fine. Come, you know. So it doesn't really matter. What's important is that you all are thinking like, where are my lines of force and what am I doing? You can't do it from over here like this. Like, nice job, Nina. You know, plus you'll probably be pushing her a little sideways or something. You need to look right down the line that you want to be, you know, you're there, use the cloth, pull it up. Here I am, my line of force. The sacrum fits perfectly in your palm. You know, don't put your middle finger down. It'll be as if your middle finger is going right down the butt. Okay? All right? So it's like that. Okay? And now the straight arm, I'm not like this. Some of you look like that. Okay? It's fine. You want to use both hands. You can have your hands like butterfly hands. No problem. No problem. You can use your chest. Even a woman can use her bottom ribs. No problem. Can we move on? Other questions you have?
When I was doing my downward dog today, Nina just came and supported my, remind me what you did.
Really good reminder, Jenny. 3 kinds of yoga posture assists. Stabilize the base is always first. Stabilize the base. Light touches that bring awareness. Increase the key action. Stabilize the base. Just bring the weapons of your palms right at the wrist crease. Another way you can stabilize the base, if you want to work with the feet, is to put your fists under their heels and let them step down onto your palms. Stabilize the base. I'll show Hannah. Come.
Light touch.
Light touch that brings awareness. I'll do a couple of them with Hannah. All right, so here I am. And we're going to work. First of all, her heels come all the way to the ground. So instead, I could just give her like my middle fingertip. Now press down into me. Okay? You see? Light touch that brings awareness. Stabilizing the base. Okay? But I'm listening up through her bones. So I turn my fingertips in line with her bones. Okay? Light touches that bring awareness, stay there. Light touches that bring awareness. You all have used a strap-in downward dog? We'll do that later in the week. But sometimes even as a teacher, even from the front, you can do, remember this one? Where you came up the lumbar back and you came through and knitted the front ribs. Okay? That's why you have to do this over and over and over and over again.
Can you tell what the modification on downward dog? Like you did have some issues like shoulder injury. What else? Oh, this way. Okay.
Depends. I don't like this. If you have a wrist injury, why are you going to have people be on their?
Well, I wouldn't, but
Yeah.
if everybody else is doing that, then what can they do besides?
Okay. So we look at the whole condition of the person. So this is a common thing with like 50-something women. They're in their 50s. They put on a little extra weight. They've got kind of thin wrists. Maybe they like work at a computer or something like that too. All right. So first of all, what I like for them is for you to give them a break from downward dog and teach them something like, you know, this finger curls that you'll see people doing at the gym, where the weight like rolls down to the tips of their fingers, and then they have to like gradually curl it up. Another thing they can do is just hang on, not that because it would fall, but like hang on to a bar and just gradually bend their knees, because we want to traction the joint, because frequently the carpals have gotten kind of misaligned. We want a little traction for the joint, and we want them to have to engage all the muscles around your side in alignment. So hanging, we're doing lat pulls at the gym, right? We like that, but slow, right? Everybody do. Then let your wrist get pulled. Let your wrist get pulled. Because we're doing it, the wrist hurts, right? So you're just doing it for your wrist. You don't have 180 pounds there, you have 20. Then the wrist gets traction. So the key thing, I think the point is, I don't want them to weight bear on their wrist at all. Okay?
Or like my mom found out that she has glaucoma, so she can't do any forward fold stuff like that. So, well, but I just have her be on the
No problem. She wants to weight bear, and she wants to build some arm strength, because we want people to. One of the nice things as we age is to continue to weight bear, so we keep our bone density and things like that. So you can have her do things against the wall or something. That wall's not, but she's here, and you teach her how to protract her shoulder, not here, not a bent elbow, but she's here. And then she leans a little further away. Then she leans a little further away. Okay, right? Just simple things like that to get some, there's always something to do. That's why most important is meditation. Then you can like zip into that person's body and be like, what would I do if I were her? And that's what you need to do. And then just come up with it. And don't get locked into yoga. I frequently do not recommend yoga. I mean, you're yoga teachers, and if you recommend something else for them, they'll be like, hey, this person actually is not trying to scam me out of money or something. So I would prefer something like this to build wrist strength for usually ladies, but sometimes men. I like, you know, the simple wrist curl exercises.
So then just to add to that question, although they're still coming to class, and you said and homework to do those things, but they still come to class and still can't do
Great,
a
Hannah.
lot of the things that we're still cueing, you know?
This is such a great question. First of all, it's why I strongly believe that general drop-in based yoga classes, which is a lot of the yoga classes in America right now, need to have numbers on them. And the number 1 needs to apply to anyone that can walk in the door. The number like 0 to 1 applies to someone that needs to like sit on a chair or like lie on the ground or something. The number 2 means I can easily weight bear on my hands and I can hold downward dog for, you know, several breaths each time. No sun salutations in level 1. No moving so fast in level 1. Downward dog for a few breaths only in level 1. No fancy balancing postures, just bend, straighten, bend, straighten. It's still, even a 16-year-old gymnast can still come to that class and still be like, oh, this is so relaxing. She can be like, oh, yeah, this is nice. I don't have to perform for anyone and I'm breathing. Level 1 class feels nice, even a 16-year-old gymnast. They get permission to do this foundations with us. But someone comes to your class, it's a level 2 class, level 3 class, you're doing, you know, sun salutations, you're doing jumping sun salutations, you're doing arm balancing, and they have wrist issues. Have compassion. Go practice next to that person. You know, I would get them off of their wrists and onto their forearms with an interlaced grip. If they're young enough. If they're like, just clearly not in the right class, you can be like, you know, I'm sorry, this might not be the right class for you, and I can't really help you too much right now. Like I got 20 other people, and you're like in a level 3 yoga class right now. Okay, that's why it had the number 3. So if you'd like your money back, you can have your money back. And please come to my class on Tuesday where I work with level 1. Or please sign up for the 12-week enrollment class where Macy will teach you, you know, 5 poses each week for beginners so you can really learn, because there's a good chance you're going to get hurt if you stay in this class. I don't usually have to say that. And if you say it and you get resistance, then just leave the person alone. You know, let them do whatever they're going to do. But there are some modifications you can do in downward dog. People want to do things. They've got wrist injuries and they still want to try. I do like for everyone to do downward dog on their forearms. You know, that might solve some of it. Sometimes I'll have people be here, inhale, here, exhale. You can try it. Okay? Try it. You do it. You don't need a mat. Just do it on the hardwood floor. Well, use a mat. Who cares? Everyone do. No one watch. It's going to make sure you put your hands wide enough, isn't it? Yeah. It might not be possible for you.
You're way smoother. Like,
Okay. I'm just showing you things. These are things that you would do, not for someone who's injured, but you're working on things with someone who wants to build arm strength, and they're a younger, more athletic person, but they have some weaknesses. You know, this is a large percentage of younger women that come to yoga classes. They do not have much arm strength. So we're helping them build arm strength with that little vinyasa. For someone who's got an injury, there are different angled things they make that you can use for support, but I just really don't want them to weight bear on their wrist if their wrist is injured. If something's injured, don't weight bear on it. It's just a real common misperception in yoga world, like, hey, I have an owie, but yoga's magic, so I'll go to yoga class and it'll get better. It's dumb. Like, the thing is swollen and inflamed. Don't put weight on it. Rest it, put ice on it, compress it, and elevate it. Rice. Another exercise I like for people that are trying to build arm strength or build and they have wrist injury is swimming with those mitts on. Right. That's going to build arm strength without any weight bearing. Side plank. Okay? Who wants to do side plank? Okay, Macy's here. I'm going to teach you lots of versions of side plank. Macy, can you come on the green mat? You're on TV. Best way to see side plank is from the side. Don't be shy. You can all huddle. Here's Macy in side plank. She's just doing her side plank. I'm not going to talk about it yet. You all saw it? Can you see? You're watching side plank. Okay, then spin change. She do the other side. Oh, she come right here. See? We're over there. Isn't it a much nicer view of the pose? Okay. All right, Mason, rest for a second. Cat stretch. Something like that. By the way, even if I'm working with someone in child's pose cat stretch, it's still the loops, right? It's still from here back to here. That's the thigh loop, right? It's still, I don't have, so I'm not going to touch. Okay, but it's still the thigh loop. It's still the pelvis going this way, right? It's still the loops. We're there. Okay, now Macy's going to do her side plank again. And the one thing that I would suggest for her that you all may or may not see is that she can come back down and probably put her hand a tiny bit further forward. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit. Because the hand does not go under the shoulder in this pose. Look, it's a diagonal pose. That doesn't make sense, right? The hand needs to be in front of the shoulder. Does that feel better, Macy? Yeah. It opens, it frees something in the inner deltoid muscle, right? Okay, now go spin change. Do you all see that? So this is a pretty athletic person, a yoga teacher, and a long-time yoga teacher, okay? She does hyperextend her arm, so we're just working on that. And it looks like the right arm might be harder for her. I'm not sure. One thing I do for a body like this is I have her make a fist, and then I just push down. Come on, lengthen your right arm. There you go, okay? And I'm in that diagonal line. So this hand is also not here, this hand is here. Right? It's a diagonal line, right? This part's diagonal, this part has to be diagonal. Okay, you can rest. Did you all see that? Stabilize the base. That's what I did, right? Stabilize the base. Yes, Hannah.
So if you're moving from plank, side plank, and you're cueing, and would you have them walk their hands forward first before you go into the side plank? Because I never heard of that. If I want smart about it, either you just go plank, side plank.
Which is not a good transition.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel about it.
So do you
like here's another bad transition. Warrior 1, Warrior 2.
Yeah.
Great, yoga teacher, you know how to count from 1 to 2. But these postures have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Warrior 1, Warrior 2 is definitely one, especially because I always have to rearrange my feet when teachers teach that way. But
so anytime you have to totally rearrange your base, it's not a good vinyasa class.
yeah.
Your base should lead to the next base. If you were going to go from plank,
He goes
to
from
side plank.
lunge.
If you were gonna go.
Go, what's your transition? Oh.
Yeah, from lunge. Because you can easily reset your hand. Now, let's say you wanted to go from plank to side plank. So she's in plank, and we want her to go side plank. She has to weight bear into her other arm first, bring her hand in front, and then go. So that would be the stepping stools. Stepping stones. Can you do it again, Macy, but slower? Okay, she's in plank. She brings all the weight into one side. She brings her other hand out in front. And that's a nice way of actually teaching. In that way, it would be a smart vinyasa because you're teaching people the difference between the two poses.
And it can be nice to teach modified, like.
We're going to do that. We're going to do that, yeah.
Because they're already in alignment.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So one key thing is just to keep building with this. Another reason I don't go from plank to side plank in level 1 is because people aren't strong enough yet. Actually, we only hold plank pose for like 2 breaths in the Yoga 1 class, because after years of teaching people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, or people that just don't have arm strength, I see like held breath, bad alignment. So if I only do 2 breaths in plank pose, can you do 2 breaths in pose? And why did I have them do it? Only to measure how long downward dog is. Keep your hands and feet there, downward dog. Press back. Go ahead. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Because I'm teaching an older population or population. There are plenty of people, even in their 20s, sadly enough, teenagers that are even stiff. Okay? Good, you can rest, Macy. Now, stepping stones of side plank. Here we go. Ready, Macy? So step 1, which is not easy at all, is where she stays on the same side knee. So we're going to start on your left hand and the left knee and turn left toes back. There you go, and right leg. So now the right leg is in line. So it has a sense of the same diagonal line, but her left knee is supporting her with her left toes turned under, okay? And that's important. If she were to bring this foot in line, she's like really tippy. So she's turned that foot under. Then that's fine. I mean, that's true. Amber's a yoga teacher. She knows what it looks like. They can do this. It's still fine. It's not as comfortable on the knee. And this is way more athletic. Also, another key thing, really important. I like this starting position. Or I like this starting position. I don't want to see, what do new people do? They want to do what they see. They're not doing what you feel. So I like hands-on focal points to start with. So focal point could be the heart center, right? She's here, she's feeling that her ribs are in the correct place. That's a good level 1 side plank right there. Okay, rest, let me see. And that, by the way, for your student with wrist injury, Tracy, would be the first pose to do, because there's really not as much weight on that one arm, because the knee is down. Okay. Do the other side, Macy. Come from the length of her pose now. And I'm going to show you why we want the focal point there. Don't do that, Macy. I want you to actually bring your arm overhead and flare out your ribs and back bend. That's what we see all the time. That is exactly, even let your arm go further back and let your head kind of sink. There you go. That's what we see. This is the reality of a yoga teacher, okay? So I'll say, Macy, grab your front ribs with your left hand. Tuck your chin in. Line up your crown with your spine. Okay, go from your right hand to your left foot. Pass yourself forward and back. Right hand to left foot. Zip up. Right hand to left foot. Zip up. Okay, I'm stabilizing the base. That's a good level 1 side plank. Okay, you can change sides. Keep looking at it from this side. Change sides. If you need to rest, let me know. Okay, now switch your feet now, but keep your right foot out in front like a kickstand. So your left leg's gonna go long. Okay. Okay, so you can even drop your left knee for a second if you need to. Yeah, go ahead. So she's there. Okay, and then we're gonna just have her sort of try to build it. Can you come to the outer edge of your left foot? Okay. Really flex your left foot, and then press with your left arm and lift your hips. Stay there, right hand at your front ribs. Come up onto your right big toe. No, just onto the big toe. Try to take the weight out of the right foot. With your next exhale, see if you can lift your right foot. And put it back down. Up, and down. Okay, and rest. Do you see? You gave your student stepping stones to get there. Modifications. Other side. She's finding her way. They like to put the foot right here, by the way. So they like to put their left foot back this way. And they just sort of sag and whatever. You say, no, no, no. Bring your left foot here. So I come here and say, left foot here. And that way they can push with that foot. Push with your left foot. Lift your hips. Okay, now zip up your belly. Press with your right arm. Okay, now see if you can come up just onto your left big toe. With your next exhale, see if you can lift it. Lift your hips. Lift your hips. And back down. Okay? And rest. You see all the modifications for side plank? Now, for Macy's side plank, there are different things that we can do. And side plank builds into really complicated postures like Vasisthasana, where your one foot's in half lotus. There are a lot of things that the side plank is preparing the younger and more mobile student for later on in life. However, just making sure they can get this is a good start. So do your side plank again. With Macy, we already did her hand position, which is great. It really wasn't that bad. The number one assist that I would always do for Macy is a fist, you know, and pressing in line. And just that stabilizes her. As I do that, can you lift your right leg? Okay. And she knew that she brought it back because it hit me. Okay. So she's always bringing herself into back bends. Okay, and rest. Her leg came back and hit me. She tends to fall into back bends. Y'all understand? Other side? She can do this herself. That I like is she can be here and she can use her left hand to grab her own head, the back of her head. Now come into a slight forward curl. Now just press your head back into your hand. Okay, just using the loops. Doing that, can you lift your left leg? Okay, and down. There's a next progression of this pose where she shortens her base a little bit and tries to fully invert her foot so her foot goes flat. Go ahead. This is a different version. She's here. Now lift your hips as high as you can and try to flatten your left foot as much as you can. Okay, and how you stabilize the base as a yoga teacher is you can put your foot there so she doesn't slip, or you can use your hand and help. Your right leg? Okay. Okay, and done. In this pose, she's no longer a plank, so it's no longer called side plank, she becomes an arch. I think so. Probably do, but I'm not sure. Try the other side. As you're doing it, Macy, go ahead and shorten your stance a little bit. Put your hand in or your foot in, either one. Now, as you turn the angle of your foot, lift your hips higher. There you go. See? You all see? Yeah, from the side is better. And this is where she could then grab her big toe and hold the big toe, which as a teacher, you can always help from behind because you're here and you can actually hold the foot and the wrist. I bend my knees and lift. I bend my knees and lift. I bend my knees and lift. Remember that. Bend knees to lift. Yeah? It's easy. Okay? I got you. Let go. And down.
Now, are your thighs kind of like holding your ribs a bit?
They're giving her where to be.
Okay.
You don't want to push forward because you'll pop her into a back bend.
His thighs, yeah.
I'm used to.
Hand and the foot, yeah. It's lifted.
I'm used to being close to people and whatever. Macy, come up for a second. So we teach Tai Chi at the school too. Can you do a little 1 foot forward, 1 foot back stance? Like this. Tiny. There we are. Then bend your front knee. Okay, then she's here and put your hand, then just push me. Palms flat, palms flat. Okay, come on, push. We do things like this in Tai Chi. Come on, push me, come on. Push me. So we're teaching people. And I like this for people, especially in yoga classes. I like people to learn Tai Chi because it's better about how to relate to each other and to work with your students. You know. Because you want to stabilize the basic poses first. I don't like yoga students just getting pulled apart.
That helps my.
Right. What are you going to do right now? I want you each to go with your partner and see if you can remember 3 kinds of side plank. The Macy's going to show them all on one side for you. Okay? First one is with the knee down and the foot behind. Don't talk to your student. I just want you to help them do each of these if they forgot. That's one. Number 2, same side. You're going to just put your foot under. Top foot comes in front. The bent knee. Foot here. Number 2. Okay? Number 3, which might be also foot up, grabbing foot. 1, 2, 3. Okay? On each side, help each other remember those 3 progressions. Try to talk as little as possible. Just see what you see.
What about in modified side plank, lifting the leg?
Of course, that's a very good. Thank you, Amber. Go ahead and demonstrate that so they can see.
With the knee.
Yeah.
And you can talk softly to each other. This is a nice modification that I forgot that Amber thankfully remind me. Okay? By the way, stay there for a second. This makes it a harder pose. She's having to balance now. Okay? And if you want to reinforce the base, you can give her something to push in. And same as passing her forward and back into her hand, into her foot. It's the same thing. You're making the person zip up. So touches that help the person zip up that are in line with their core line, you can do in any pose. You can talk gently to each other. Those 3 versions, give it a try. If you're a more experienced yoga teacher and you want to try tiny touches or whatever, go ahead. But we're mainly just trying to remember these 3 modifications. You can work with one another, with Nina.
Okay. Well,
with Sarah.
You guys go and
No, you work with Sarah.
Oh, okay.
Hand is too far in front.
Sorry.
Hand is too far in front.
Oh, okay.
Bring your right hip forward. Left in your right knee backwards. I think your left hip a little more.
You meet your feet together on the side, or your left. Sorry, right foot.
Move your left hip forward.
Do you want?
Get your foot.
Balance yourself with your right foot, and then take this foot and balance yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, yeah, no, it feels fine.
It takes a lot of ankle flexibility and a lot of outer leg line flexibility. IT band area has to be quite supple. Mm-hmm. Okay, keep doing what you're doing, but listen to me for a second. Keep doing what you're doing, but listen to me for a second. When the knee is down, it changes the posture slightly, so then the hand is more directly under the shoulder, right? You need to be able to see that, because here's Amber doing it. If the knee is down, then it's a less diagonal pose, because the hips are higher. Okay, keep going now. You should see lines, though. That's what you should look at in postures, see lines.
You're not actually changing anything that changes the diagonal. Is that right?
I think a good cue.
You wouldn't change it.
You're seeing, right now you're just making sure you can accurately teach all 3 phases. That's all you're doing. Step. When you're looking at the lines, right? You're looking at the lines here, and you know, I'm looking at this line, I'm thinking, why isn't her knee under her hip? Which she just corrected on her own. Okay? That's all you're doing.
Right, yeah. So it's okay. That's good.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Huh? You had a nice talk about your sharing yesterday. Can you bring these in round your back, round your back, round your back, round your back more? There you go. Now bring your head. Okay, that's the thing. Always for you. You're always sticking your ribs out. Give her some resistance, Macy.
I was trying to, but she switched on me.
Put one hand on that, on this shin. Let her push into you. Let her win. Let her win. Let her win. See? You're letting her win. See?
I didn't know if I was trusting this way or not.
She's going to lift it, right? So you're resisting the upward movement. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one's totally foreign to me.
Mm-hmm. So he's there. Looking pretty nice, huh? You can go and give him some resistance. Yeah, no. Lift up into me. Lift the leg up into me. Push up. Push up into me. Lift your leg. There you go. Keep going. Keep going. See? And down. Change roles if you haven't. Change roles if you haven't. Come up if you want. Change roles if you didn't already.
Yeah, let me try this. Let me do them all. Yeah.
I'm here to help you.
I can do it.
Okay? Don't be afraid of me. Okay? Your hands will be in front of you. Your knees are a little bent. Okay? Let your touch here, and here. Bottom ribs, top of pelvis. Okay? Now, curl that area. And let your back really round. Okay? So you're hanging forward like a, stay like this. Knees bend and straighten. But don't fully straighten. Now keep your tail down, and all you're going to do, keep your belly active. Just press your head back. You can just look at her, Michael. Just watch her for a second.
So try this on this one.
Go ahead. Round yourself forward. Stay there. Now really round this. Come on.
There you go. That was a
Come
good
on.
adjustment.
You see how flat she still is here? You see how this is sticking up? So here's where she
You can
needs,
lift your leg.
this
Nice.
is the area where that needs to get freed up. Needs to get freed up. She's too flat in her
Look
thoracic
at you.
spine.
You look so strong.
So that's the key thing. There are ways that she can do
Doesn't
that.
it just make you feel like,
Here one. Or
we do?
little one.
With leg over.
Grab onto
Well,
me
but I was
around
doing
my
it
waist.
for
Come on, hold on to me.
yeah.
No. Let your spine go back. Let your chest go back. Let your chest go back. You're trying to pop her. You're trying to pop her. Come on, grab onto me. But let your chest go back. There you go. Let your chest go back. Round your back. See? Now we're done. Bend your right knee. Okay, and that's what I do. You're trying to pop the mid back open. She had brilliant brain. Large head. Okay. Brilliant brain, large head, but somehow this area waiting to pop open.
Okay.
How old are you? Yeah. Now is a good time. Also rolling, just lie down on your back. Bend your knees. Rolling. No. But it's too hard maybe for you, this surface, but maybe a carpet. Maybe a carpet. Or maybe 2 yoga mats. You have to roll until you can roll through here. Right now, the reason you can't roll is because it's just a one flat thing. Okay? Practice rounding. Don't be afraid to round. It's not bad in yoga. You need to round. Okay, now questions. Side plank. Parshva. Danda. Da, 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 da. Ba, ba, ba. Danda. Doesn't mean stick, it means like rigid rod, like rebar. Maybe you don't know what rebar is. Metal rod. Okay. Danda. Parshva. Danda. Okay. Then, you know, when you're doing like the arch shape, that's different. That's no longer a danda. Okay. So you could do something like Ardha Chakra, half circle, or Ardha Mandala, half, because you're making an arch then. That's different, advanced young bodies, okay? Making sense? I think that I have to stop now. We had a really fun time together. Yoga Lab, dynamic, powerful warm-ups. We do them in level 1. I like lying around on pillows yoga as much as anyone, but for rehabilitating bodies and movement therapy, it's only mildly successful. Learning to weight bear in all directions, learning to explore the joints, it's important. So level 1 class can still do that, but you need to give them a bite size that they can chew. And so strong warm-ups. The one that we didn't do, I'm just going to demonstrate with someone. What else wants to do I didn't do already? Anna, you're actually a good example of this. Lunge. So start with your hands on the ground. Okay? Yeah, you're good. You're good. Anna is a good example. No, keep your hands on the ground. Turn onto the ball of your back foot. Ball of your back foot. There you go. Now pass yourself forward and back. And zip up. See how I'm using my body weight? See, I don't have a straight arm, but my elbow is against my ribs. Now come onto your fingertips only. Stay there breathing. Can you bring your right arm toward me? Stay there breathing. Can you lift your right toe tips and pull with your right foot? Now lift your left arm. See? This is hard. Now put your hands back down. Okay? Now step change. She is thin, quite thin, you know? So she has a pretty narrow stance, but I still don't want her on a tightrope. Okay, so if you see your student on a tightrope, she's there. Step 1, not for Anna, but hands down, is back knee on the ground. Back knee. Okay, inhale, straighten the back knee, exhale. Straight leg, back down, and up. Some people have to be here, old people, overweight people, whatever. By the way, opposite body type, big body. Tracy, you do back there? Hand need to be inside the foot. So front hand inside the foot because boobs are in the way. Okay? You got it? And widen your stance, meaning right foot to the right. There you go. Okay? Y'all see? Then fingertips only, Tracy. Forward and back and back. Bend your left knee. There you go. Between your crown and your back foot, forward and back. Left arm up. Stay there, belly muscles. Can you bring your right hand up? Oh, and back down. Back down. You all see stepping stone progression. Step change. Okay? You can do the other side, Tracy. That is lunge. Powerful, difficult warm-up. Difficult, not easy. Why do I have her now lift her right arm first? Because her right foot is there. Okay? Fingertips, stay there. Stay there. Lift your right toe tips and pull with your right hamstring. Go ahead and grab, stay there, Tracy. Left hand on the ground. Can you grab your right hamstring with your right hand? Is it turned on? So I'll do this with students a lot. Reach under and grab your hamstring. Is it swinging in the breeze or is it turned on? All right, right arm forward. Right toes can lift a tiny bit. Then back down, then left hand forward. 2 breaths. Use your right hamstring, lift your right toe tips. There you go. Okay, you all got it? Super powerful, hard, difficult warm-ups. This is what I never, ever want to see that I always see. Michael, can you demonstrate since Tracy just did? Do lunge again. I always see this, and it is so wrong because it does the loops backwards. So stay there, Michael. You're doing great. Come on your fingertips. Go forward and back. Pull yourself forward and back. Now, come on, left inner thigh. Lift the left inner thigh. There you go. And then the next thing they'll do is put their hands on their knee. Put both hands on your knee. Bad. Okay. Why is it bad? It immediately makes the loops go opposite. He'll immediately scrunch his toes. Go ahead and do it, Michael. Scrunch the toes. It hammers that foot down. The belly falls out. Okay. All kinds of bad things happen. Okay. So rest. So don't let your students put your hands on the knees. Where can they put their hands if they want to step in their hip creases? Okay. Focal point. Good job. We'll start again in 15 minutes at 11 o'clock. Have some fun.
In here or in there?
I think in here it's nice and awake.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to turn off my.
Off your sound.
It might have turned off.